I could definitely see that even in like the US, for example, because I've talked about this a few times on the show that everybody gets into the spirituality concept that you are God yourself. But once you go down that path, I mean, it seems like you've been on that path. I've been kind of on that path. It starts with individual spirituality and then it turns into God spirituality. Like everybody starts
Exactly.
off on that path, like that's the entryway because everybody likes having the concept of you creating your own reality. But the farther you go down that path, it seems like more often than not, people get back into the God perspective of things,
Right.
which is starting to happen again in the US. Like there's a reinsurgence of just those same beliefs after all of this crazy stuff that's been happening the past few years, which kind of brings it to the next point of conversation that I kind of want to get into about this separation from spiritual plants that seems to be intentionally placed that I've noticed. And coming from somebody that's working in the cannabis industry, it seems like just a prime example would be like tobacco. That tobacco for the natives was a very spiritual plant. It wasn't this cancer causing awful plant that everybody perceives that it is now. But now that big corporations got a hold of it, all this additional stuff has been done to it in order to pull the spirituality from it. Now it's this awful substance, and now they've even created it to be obsolete where people are using vapes now and not very many people are actually smoking tobacco, not that it's real tobacco to begin with anymore. But then it's starting to move into cannabis, that cannabis was a very spiritual plant, and the more that it's commercialized, the more it pulls away from the spirituality of it. And I mean, it may even be the plant itself, that these plants are actually conscious, just not in a way that the average person understands. So by treating them with disrespect, they're going to give disrespect back. So the more that you separate the spirituality from the plants, the farther people are going to keep going away from the spiritual path. And I know we're talking about it before the show, but I definitely think it needs to kind of get rehatched and brought back up that the average cannabis user that's been smoking for years, myself included, it used to be a lot more of a creative high. Like you'd want to be able to go out, you'd want to create things, you'd want to do art, you'd want to do this. And it seems like for more people that I talk to than not, it doesn't do that for them anymore. It pulls your ambitions from you and makes you sleepy. And it's not the same high that it used to be. And that could be caused by all the different ways that they're producing it now because it's all about quantity over quality. Or it may be just because the plant itself feels disrespected. So it's giving disrespect back, that it's not giving you that creative muse anymore. Instead, it's dampening your inhibitions to really do anything, which was the viewpoint that people had of it back in the day. What everybody knew wasn't really what was happening because all the most creative people are smoking cannabis in the day. And
Right.
now my biggest fear is that it's pushing into mushrooms because they're starting to decriminalize mushrooms. Everybody and the brother is growing mushrooms. And when I used to do that kind of stuff, like I would have really positive results doing all these spiritual things with them, like playing music for them, talking to them, never going into the room when I was in a bad mood, just keeping positive energy for them. But now they're talking about how they can synthetically produce psilocybin using different types of bacteria and algae. So they're pulling away from even the spirituality of the plant. And they're basically giving you the rush that you get from these things
Mhm.
without this actual spiritual tie to the plant itself. And in turn, making the actual plant obsolete because the average person doing it thinks it's all about the high feeling that you get from it when that's
Mhm.
never what it was intended to be in the first place. It was supposed to be spiritual tools for growth.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit before, and I tend to think that what you just described is intentional by the parasite class that want to keep us asleep because they know we're waking up. They know that people are using these things, um, for to not just mind expansion, but having their own spiritual relationship with the other realms, with the creator. And so, of course, they have to. Of course, it has to be controlled, and of course, it's going to dumb you down and keep you in your cubicle. It's just that I believe in humanity. I think human beings are very powerful and they're very wise and very smart if they allow themselves to be. And just the fact that you've brought it up means that it's possible that people, or it's probable that anyone that has a real relationship with any one of the plants, even if it's just the tomatoes you're growing in your backyard, is you feel their frequency and you feel their vibration. Everybody knows that if you grow a garden, your food tastes better because it is better. It's not some mass produced GMO that's not even designed to actually give you nutrition, let alone a frequency, ingesting a frequency. So, of course, it's going to extend to cannabis. And then heartbreaking, I guess it's heartbreaking. Maybe it's going to be a giant red pill for everybody, though. And people just go, oh, so mushrooms now? You can't do that. You're not going to be able to take the spirit out of something and have people still pursue it. I mean, some will, but then there'll be the great awakening on that as well. People will understand, oh, this is my relationship with the creator, with the plants, with the animals, with my family, with my community, with others is between me and them, not between me and Raytheon or me
Hmm.
me and you know, whatever, Coca-Cola, let's, or Disney. They're not my filter for what reality is. And if it takes something as something that's having such a massive global resurgence in, you know, connection with the shamanic, like cannabis, um, people start to wake up from that, they'll reject it. And I don't know how long it will take, but eventually human beings, you just look through history, they eventually reject what is not natural, what is not normal, and what is not of God, what is not of light, what is not of growth and expansion. Um, Things that are of retraction, they eventually kill themselves. They eventually eat, it will eat itself. They'll just kind of go away like every other trend that is not productive. But they keep trying, they keep trying, they get a few suckers, they throw a few wars. Um, and then,
Hmm.
you know, battle after battle. But like, people are amazing. Um, People are amazing with their connection with the whole, with their own individual shamanic connection with the creator. So I have faith.